There is a fundamental lie that most men have been fed their entire lives about what actually creates attraction. You've been told that if you're just nice enough, if you buy enough gifts, if you show her how much you care through constant availability, she will eventually see your value and choose you. But look around. The men who do that are the ones getting politely tolerated while their texts go unanswered for days. The truth that no one wants to admit is that attraction isn't built on kindness. It's built on tension. It's not about how much you display your accomplishments or how much money you spend on a dinner. It's about how much space you occupy in her mind when you're not there. What separates the forgettable man from the magnetic man is something far more subtle and frankly far more dangerous. The ability to disrupt her psychological pattern and plant a seed of curiosity that she cannot stop watering. Most men approach a woman like they are applying for a job, trying to prove they are qualified to be with her. They perform, they dance, they tell the same rehearsed stories that 90% of other men have already told her. But you aren't here to perform. You are here to invite her actual essence forward by using psychological triggers that bypass her logical defenses and speak directly to her subconscious. In this video, we aren't talking about cheap pickup lines or manipulation hacks. We are talking about the obsession triggers, the dark psychology of attraction that makes a woman pause, think deeply, and wonder why you feel so fundamentally different from every other man she's ever met. If you are tired of being the nice guy who gets a polite smile but no real desire, then stay with me. By the end of this breakdown, you will understand the 5 psychological keys that unlock genuine female obsession and ignite a fire that surface-level dating advice could never touch. Every man has, at some point, found himself in a conversation where he felt he was doing everything right, yet he could feel the connection slipping through his fingers like sand. He's being charming, he's being respectful, he's asking about her day, and yet he can see her eyes glazing over. This is the invisible man syndrome. It happens because you are operating on a script that her brain has already decoded 1,000 times before. A high-value woman is approached constantly. She has a pattern recognition system that is designed to filter out the noise. When you lead with the same questions about her job, her hobbies, or her weekend plans, her brain goes into autopilot mode. She gives you the polished, scripted version of herself because you haven't earned the right to see anything deeper. Most men mistakenly believe that by being predictable, they are being safe. But in the world of attraction, safe is the fastest route to being forgotten. You become a background character in her life story, a name in her phone that she eventually stops responding to because there is no psychological weight behind the interaction. The challenge isn't that you aren't good enough. It's that you are too readable. You are showing all your cards too early. You are making it too easy for her to categorize you and put you on a shelf. To break this cycle, you have to stop being the man who simply observes her and start being the man who makes her feel genuinely seen. You have to move past the surface-level small talk that she is exhausted by and create an emotional experience that disrupts her autopilot. The man she remembers is the one who dared to step outside the script. To understand why certain men become an obsession while others remain a footnote, you have to understand the concept of emotional portals. Attraction operates on 2 levels: the physical, which gets you in the door, and the psychological, which keeps you in her mind. An emotional portal is a moment in a conversation where the surface-level reality falls away and you enter a space of raw, unfiltered connection. Most men never even approach the door to these portals because they are too busy trying to impress. The magnetic man knows that the most powerful thing he can offer is not his resume, but his presence. Think about the last time someone asked you a question that made you stop, breathe, and actually think. That brief pause where your brain has to disconnect from its scripted responses to find a truth you haven't spoken in years, that is a portal. When you facilitate that moment for a woman, you aren't just another guy she's talking to. You become the person she associates with self-discovery. You are awakening emotions authentically. This requires what I call masculine stillness, a grounded, quiet confidence that doesn't need to fill every silence with noise. It's the ability to maintain eye contact and hold the space while she explores the layers of her own mind. These questions and triggers I'm about to give you are not tricks to control her. They are doorways to invite her essence forward. When a woman feels emotionally safe enough to lower her guard in your presence, she begins to form a bond that is profoundly personal. She remembers how she felt when she was saying things to you that she's never said to anyone else. The first dark psychology trick to occupying her mind is the open loop. This is a technique used by the world's best screenwriters to keep you addicted to a TV show, and it works exactly the same way in human attraction. Our brains have a biological drive for closure. When a story or a thought is left unfinished, the Zeigarnik effect takes over. Our subconscious mind will keep returning to that unfinished thought until it is resolved. Most men make the mistake of closing every loop immediately. They answer every question fully, they explain every story to the end, and they leave nothing to the imagination. By the time the date is over, she feels she knows you and the mystery is dead. To create obsession, you must intentionally leave loops open. This doesn't mean being mysterious in a cringy way. It means sharing a deep, vulnerable piece of information and then pausing or changing the subject before the resolution. You have just planted a seed. Her brain is now flagged with an unfinished task. Later that night, when she is lying in bed, she won't be thinking about the dinner or the music. She will be wondering about that turning point you mentioned. You have forced her subconscious to work for you. You are creating psychological tension without any physical contact. The open loop ensures that the conversation continues in her mind, looping over and over, building a sense of intrigue that she will eventually mistake for a deep, undeniable connection. The second trick is what I call the value mirror. Most women are used to being complimented on things they have zero control over: their eyes, their smile, their outfit. While these compliments are nice, they are low-calorie attention. They don't fill her up because they only acknowledge her surface presentation. To make her crave your presence, you must reflect her complexity back to her in a way that proves you see the parts of her she usually hides. This is the psychological principle of validation of the self, the when you ask a question like, "What's something you believed strongly 5 years ago that you don't believe anymore?" You are telling her, "I am not just interested in the woman sitting here. I am interested in the evolution of your soul." When she answers, you don't offer advice or your own opinion immediately. You mirror her depth. You might say, "It sounds like you had to choose between who you were told to be and who you actually are." That's a lonely transition to make. In that moment, you have done something 99% of men will never do. You have validated her internal struggle. You have become a mirror that shows her a more profound version of herself. This creates an intense emotional bond because she begins to associate your presence with her own personal growth. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel expanded. By reflecting her values and her evolution, you aren't just a man making conversation, you are a witness to her life. Women are biologically and psychologically wired to seek out men who can hold their complexity without being intimidated by it. This creates a deep, deepening attraction that feels entirely organic. Every woman carries within her a secret self, a version of her identity that contains suppressed dreams, unvoiced ambitions, and desires she has learned to minimize to fit into the expectations of the world. The third trick to creating obsession is the permission question. This is where you hand her a blank canvas and say, "Show me the version of yourself that the world rarely sees." Most men ask about her current reality, anchoring her in her social mask. To bypass this, you must ask questions that give her permission to step out. You ask, "If nothing was stopping you, no fear, no money issues, no judgment, what would you be doing right now?" By asking this, you are telling her that in your presence, her secret self is safe. You aren't judging her for her unrealistic dreams. You are offering her a rare escape from the constraints of her daily life. This creates emotional freedom, which is one of the most powerful aphrodisiacs in existence. When she talks to you about the things she usually keeps hidden, she experiences a sense of liberation. Her brain releases dopamine because she is finally allowed to express her truest self. Long after you leave, she will remember that feeling of being unbound when she was with you. She will start to feel that the world is gray and restricted, but being with you is colorful and free. This association is what leads to obsession. She will find herself wanting to see you just to feel that sense of permission again. You aren't just a man anymore in her perception. You are a sanctuary. One of the most effective ways to occupy her mind is to become a pattern recognition disruptor. As I mentioned earlier, high-value women have a built-in defense system to filter out men who are just seeking their attention. They expect you to lean in too much. They expect you to laugh at all their jokes, and they expect you to try to close the deal quickly. To disrupt this pattern, you must use masculine stillness. This means being the one man who doesn't do what she expects. If she says something provocative or challenging, most men get defensive or try to prove themselves. You do the opposite. You maintain calm, steady eye contact, and you let the silence sit for 2 seconds longer than is comfortable. This signals that you are unshakable. It tells her subconscious that your internal state is not dependent on her approval. This creates psychological uncertainty. When she can't easily read you, her brain is forced to spend more energy trying to figure you out. By disrupting her pattern, you have moved from being predictable to being intriguing. You are no longer a fan who is lucky to be in her presence. You are a peer who is evaluating her just as much as she is evaluating you. This disruption is what earns authentic respect. A woman can never truly be obsessed with a man she doesn't respect, and she can't respect a man she can easily manipulate. By being the exception to the rules, you become a permanent fixture in her thoughts as she tries to decode the riddle. The final and perhaps most dark psychology trick is the scarcity of attention. In a world where everyone is hyper-available, attention has become a cheap commodity. If you give your full, undivided attention to a woman 24/7, she will eventually devalue it because there is no cost to it. To create obsession, you must treat your attention like a high-value resource. This is the principle of intermittent reinforcement, which is the exact same psychology that makes gambling so addictive. You provide deep, intense, and high-quality attention when you are together. You make her feel like the only person in the world. You ask the permission questions, you use the value mirror, and you create that emotional portal. But then you pull back. You don't text her the moment you leave. You don't like every single one of her Instagram stories. You return to your own mission, your own goals, and your own silence. This withdrawal phase is where the obsession actually takes root. When you are together, the high is incredible. When you are apart, she feels the low of your absence. Her brain will begin to crave the high of your presence again. She will start to lean in and lower her guard naturally to earn back that intense attention you gave her earlier. By pulling back your emotional energy, you are proving that you are a man of sincere intention, but also a man of independence. When she realizes your attention is something that must be earned, she will check her phone wondering when that next hit will come. Now we need to take a moment and talk about where this gets serious. The 5 tricks I've just shared with you are not just hacks or dating tips. They are powerful psychological doorways, and the moment you choose to walk through them, you are taking on a significant responsibility. These techniques are designed to bypass a woman's logical defenses and speak directly to her heart. When you use them correctly, she will open up and reveal things she hasn't told her best friends. But here is the fundamental truth. You cannot lead a woman into her deepest emotional territory if you aren't prepared to be the grounded masculine presence that she needs on the other side. If she genuinely opens up and you aren't steady, or if you are just playing a game, you will cause genuine emotional harm. Women aren't just targets for these techniques. They are human beings seeking depth and understanding. They aren't drawn to men who simply want them. They are drawn to men who understand them. Once your words start to echo in her heart long after the conversation is over, you have created a bond. If you aren't a man of character, that bond will turn into resentment. But if you are a man of genuine stillness and quiet confidence, these triggers will create a foundation for a connection that is as healthy as it is intense. Be ready for what happens when the secret self is revealed. Be the man who can handle the fire you've just started. We've covered a lot today. Moving from the invisible man trap to the high-stakes psychology of obsession triggers. My goal isn't just to give you tricks to get a date. It's to help you become the kind of man whose presence is unforgettable because it's rooted in psychological awareness and masculine depth. I want to hear from you now. This is a deep topic, and I know one of these 5 triggers probably hit differently for you. Maybe you've realized you've been too available, or maybe you've realized you've been staying in the surface-level small talk for far too long. Drop a comment below and tell me which section made you pause and reflect on your own approach. I read all of the comments, and I want to know where you are tuning in from and what you're currently navigating in your dating life. If this resonated with you, if you're tired of the standard dating advice that doesn't actually work in the real world, then hit that subscribe button. I am consistently breaking down the dark and light sides of personality psychology and connection in ways that most people are too afraid to talk about. Take these keys, use them with intention, and remember that the most magnetic thing you can ever be is a man who is genuinely present. Take care of yourselves, stay grounded, and I will see you in the next breakdown. Thanks for watching Personality with Ariba. If you enjoy videos about human personality, psychology, and behavior, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss any new videos. See you in the next video with another interesting personality insight. Until then, take care and keep improving yourself. This is Ariba, signing off.